Tonight here at home, family and friends of a 16-year-old who was shot to death last month gathered today not only to honor her, but to call for action.
Atlanta police say a teenage boy was arrested after the shooting at the Hyatt Regency, but as Fox 5's Alex Whitler reports, her family says that's not enough.
A 16-year-old girl positions her phone against a hotel room wall. She hits record. The music starts. She begins to dance, smiling, completely carefree. Then the door opens. Watch her face. Her head snaps up, her eyes go wide, her mouth opens, the dancing stops. She's staring at someone who just walked in without knocking. Someone who shouldn't be there. Pure terror. The video cuts off at 12 minutes 2 seconds. 21 minutes later, Kalesha Williams is dead from a gunshot wound. But here's what makes this case different from every other murder you've heard about. This wasn't a random attack. This wasn't a stranger. This was planned weeks in advance. And the person who set her up, who made sure she'd be alone in that room, who guaranteed she'd be vulnerable, her best friend. What you're about to hear will change everything you think you know about trust, friendship, and the people you allow into your children's lives. Because sometimes the danger doesn't come from strangers. Welcome to Crazy Dark Files, where we expose the true crime cases that reveal how badly our system fails victims and their families. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a case. We're building a community that demands justice, not just stories. Now, let me tell you about Kalesha Pinky Williams and how a Christmas party invitation became a death trap. Kalesha Williams was 16 years old. She lived in Atlanta, Georgia with her mother, April Smith, and her stepfather, Ronnie Savoy. Everyone who knew her called her Pinky because she was obsessed with the color pink. It was her favorite color. It was everywhere in her life. It was who she was. Pinky was what you'd call a homebody. She loved staying inside, she loved her Wi-Fi, she loved Netflix, she loved making TikTok videos and dancing in her room. While most teenagers were going crazy during the COVID-19 lockdowns, desperate to get out of the house and see their friends, Pinky was perfectly happy at home. Her stepfather, Ronnie, remembered trying to get her to go outside. "Pinky, you need to go outside and get some air," he'd tell her. He'd just smile and say, I'm good, as long as I got my Wi-Fi and my Netflix." That was Pinky. Simple, content, safe at home. She was a student at Crawford W. Long Middle School and later went to South Atlanta High School. She had friends. She had social media. She lived a completely normal teenage life. She didn't have children. She wasn't in any serious relationship. She was just a regular 16-year-old girl doing regular 16-year-old things. And here's what's important for you to understand. Pinky wasn't a troubled teen. She wasn't running the streets. She wasn't getting into trouble. She wasn't the kind of kid parents worry about at night. Her parents loved her. They protected her. They asked questions about where she was going and who she'd be with. They didn't just let her go anywhere with anyone. They were careful. They were responsible. Pinky's family had a good relationship. They talked, they trusted each other. When Pinky wanted to go somewhere, her parents made sure there would be adult supervision. They made sure she'd be safe. That's why what happened on December 26, 2020, destroyed them, because they did everything right. They asked the right questions. They got the right answers. They trusted the right people, or so they thought, because sometimes the people you trust the most are the ones who hurt you the worst. December 26, 2020, the day after Christmas, Pinky's friend Infinity called her with an invitation. There was going to be a holiday party, just a few girls from school, a chance to hang out and have fun after being stuck inside for so long. Pinky's parents didn't just say yes right away. They asked questions. Where would it be? Who else would be there? Would there be adult supervision? Infinity's mother gave them all the answers they needed to hear. The party would be at an Airbnb. It would be girls only. She would be there the entire time to supervise. The girls would be safe, she promised. April Smith, Pinky's mother, spoke directly with Infinity's mother. She got those promises herself, face to face, adult to adult. And here's the thing that made them feel even more comfortable. This wasn't the first time. Infinity's mother had hosted a gathering like this before. Pinky had gone. Everything had been fine. No problems, no issues. The girls had fun, and everyone came home safe. So when the second invitation came, Pinky's parents felt good about saying yes. They had experience with this woman. They had proof that she kept her word. Ronnie actually had to convince Pinky to go.
Supposed to be at an Airbnb with a couple of more friends from school and the mother. They'd have done this once before, so we was a little comfortable of letting her go the second time. And we spoke to the mother, and she said she was going to be there.
She was so comfortable at home that she didn't even want to leave, but her parents thought it would be good for her. Get out, see her friends, be a normal teenager for one night. At 9:00 p.m. on December 26th, Pinky left her house. She believed she was going to a supervised party at an Airbnb with her girlfriends. Her parents believed the same thing. They went to bed around midnight, thinking their daughter was safe. But every single thing Infinity's mother told them was a lie. There was no Airbnb. There never was. Infinity's mother had booked a room at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in downtown Atlanta. She put it in her own name. She paid for it. Then she left. No supervision, no adult presence. Just teenagers alone in a hotel room. And it wasn't just girls. 2 teenage boys were there too. One of them was a 16-year-old named Kerry Brown. And Kerry Brown had plans for Pinky that night. Plans she knew nothing about. Plans she never would have agreed to. This wasn't a party invitation. This was a setup. And Pinky had no idea she was walking into a trap. While her parents slept peacefully at home, trusting that their daughter was being looked after by a responsible adult, Pinky was being delivered into the hands of someone who wanted to hurt her, someone who had been planning this for weeks, someone who knew exactly how to use trust as a weapon, and the person who made it all possible, the person who set up her best friend to be assaulted and murdered. Infinity. Here's what was really happening behind the scenes. Kerry Brown was 16 years old. He was sexually interested in Calacia. He wanted her. But there was a problem. Calacia would never agree to be alone with him. She didn't want him like that. She wouldn't consent. So Kerry needed help. He needed someone who could get Calacia alone. Someone she trusted. Someone who could deliver her to him without her knowing what was really happening. That someone was Infinity. Weeks before December 26th, Infinity approached Kerry. They talked, they planned, they figured out exactly how to isolate Calacia and make sure she'd be vulnerable. The plan was simple but effective. Create a fake party. Infinity would tell Calacia there was a holiday gathering. She'd make it sound fun and safe. Girls only, adult supervision, nothing to worry about. Then Infinity's mother would book a hotel room at the Hyatt Regency. She'd put it in her own name so there wouldn't be any questions. She'd pay for it. She'd make it all look legitimate. Then they'd sell the lie to Calacia's parents. Airbnb, supervision, safety. All the things parents need to hear before they let their child go somewhere overnight. And it worked. Infinity's mother booked that hotel room knowing exactly what it would be used for. She violated every hotel policy about unaccompanied minors. She created the location where a 16-year-old girl would be sexually assaulted. Think about that for a second. A grown woman, a mother, someone who should protect children. She booked a hotel room for teenagers, lied about supervising them, and then disappeared. Why would she do that? What kind of adult helps set up a teenage girl to be hurt? The lie was constructed perfectly. Every detail was thought out. Every question Calacia's parents might ask had an answer ready. The fake party, the fake location, the fake supervision. Infinity practiced her story. Her mother practiced hers. They made sure everything matched up. And because they'd done this once before successfully, Kalesia's parents had no reason to doubt them. The trust was already built. The foundation was already there. All Infinity had to do was make the call, invite Kalesia, get her to say yes. All Infinity's mother had to do was reassure April Smith one more time. All Carrie had to do was wait. Every piece was falling into place. The room was booked. The lie was told. The trust was given. The trap was set, and Kalesia had no idea. She thought she was going to hang out with her friends. She thought she'd be safe. She thought the adults in her life were protecting her. She had no idea she was being handed over to a predator. Between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock p.m., Kalesia arrived at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in downtown Atlanta. She called her mother right away. "I'm the first one here," she said. "The other girls haven't arrived yet." April told her to give it some time. Girls are always late to things, right? Nothing to worry about. But here's something strange. Later, in live video, Infinity claimed that she was there first, not Kalesia. So who's telling the truth? Why would their stories be different? That's the first red flag that something wasn't right. Throughout the evening, Kalesia was seen in several videos with Infinity. They were dancing, they were laughing, they looked like they were having fun. Everything seemed normal, just two friends hanging out. Kalesia had no reason to be worried. Not yet. At 11:47 p.m., Kalesia and Infinity were confirmed to be in the hotel room together. Then, around midnight, something happened. Infinity got a phone call, or at least that's what she told Kalesia. "I need to go downstairs for a minute," Infinity said. "I'll be right back," and she left. Kalesia was now completely alone in that hotel room. No friends, no supervision, no protection. While Kalesia sat in that room, completely isolated, someone was already on their way up. Someone who knew exactly which room she was in. Someone who knew she'd be alone. Someone who'd been planning this moment for weeks. Carrie Brown was coming. At 12:02 a.m., Kalesia decided to make a TikTok video to pass the time. She was bored. She was waiting for Infinity to come back. She had no idea what was about to happen. She positioned her phone against the wall. Her hair was done. She looked good. She was smiling. She hit record. The music started. She began to dance. Watch her in those first few seconds. She's confident. She's graceful. She's completely unaware that death is walking down the hallway toward her door. She's lost in the music, lost in the moment, lost in the simple joy of being 16 years old and making content for her friends to see. She's just being a normal teenager. Then, at exactly 12 minutes 47 seconds, the door opens. Watch what happens to her face. Her head snaps up. Her body language completely shifts. The dancing stops. Her eyes go wide. Her mouth opens. That's pure fear. That's the face of someone who knows something is very, very wrong. She's looking at someone who just walked into her room without knocking. Someone who doesn't belong there. Someone who's looking at her in a way that makes her skin crawl. She moves toward her phone. She's trying to stop the recording. She's trying to end the video because she knows this moment shouldn't be captured, but it's too late. At 12 minutes 52 seconds, the video cuts off. 5 seconds. That's all it took. 5 seconds of pure terror, captured forever on video. 5 seconds that show the exact moment Kalesia realized she'd been betrayed. The exact moment she understood she was in danger. The exact moment she knew she was alone with someone who wanted to hurt her. But the video doesn't show you what happened next. It doesn't show Carrie Brown closing the door behind him. It doesn't show him walking toward her. It doesn't show Kalesia backing away. It doesn't show her asking him what he's doing there. It doesn't show her saying no. From this moment, Kalesia Williams has exactly 21 minutes left to live. 21 minutes where she will fight harder than most people ever have to fight in their entire lives. But those 21 minutes will end with her bleeding out on a hotel room floor, alone. Before I tell you what happened in those final 21 minutes, I need to know, what state or country are you watching from right now? Drop it in the comments. And here's my second question. Have you ever had a situation where someone you trusted completely betrayed you? Maybe not like this, but in any way? Let me know below. If this case is making you as angry as it made me, hit that like button. It helps more people learn Calesia's story. It helps her family get the justice they're still fighting for. Now let me tell you what happened in that room. Exactly 12:03 a.m. Carrie Brown closes the door behind him. Calesia backs away. She's demanding answers. What are you doing here? Why did you come in like that? Where's Infinity? Carrie tells her exactly why he's there. He tells her what he wants from her. And Calesia says no. She refuses. She tells him to leave. She tells him she's not interested. She makes it clear that whatever he's thinking, whatever he's planning, it's not going to happen. But Carrie didn't come to that room to take no for an answer. Calesia Williams fought back. Let me say that again because it's important. Calesia Williams fought back. She was 110 pounds, a 16-year-old girl against a male attacker who came prepared with a weapon. But she didn't just give up. She didn't just let him do whatever he wanted. She scratched him. She hit him. She tried to get to the door. She tried to get away. She refused to be a silent victim. She refused to make this easy for him. She fought with everything she had, but Carrie Brown came prepared for that. He knew she might resist. He knew she might fight, so he brought something to make sure he'd get what he wanted. He pulled out a gun. At approximately 12:11 a.m., Carrie Brown shot Calesia Williams in the groin. Not in the chest, not in the head, in the groin. That's an intimate, punishing shot. It's designed to destroy her ability to resist while keeping her conscious, to suffer. It's not a quick death. It's not merciful. It's cruel. This wasn't random violence. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment decision. This was someone who wanted to hurt her in the most personal, painful way possible because she refused to give him what he wanted. For the next 12 minutes, Calesia lay on that hotel room floor, bleeding. 12 minutes. Think about how long 12 minutes is. Think about lying there knowing you're dying, knowing someone just shot you, knowing you're alone. And what did Carrie Brown do during those 12 minutes? He didn't call 911. He didn't try to help her. He didn't try to stop the bleeding. He didn't show any remorse for what he'd just done. Instead, he started planning how to cover it up. He started thinking about how to make this look like something other than what it was. He started figuring out how to protect himself. While Calesia Williams fought for every breath, Carrie Brown was worried about getting caught. At 12:23 a.m., Calesia Williams was pronounced dead. 21 minutes from the moment that video cut off to the moment her heart stopped beating. 21 minutes from dancing and smiling to bleeding out on a hotel room floor. 21 minutes that ended the life of a 16-year-old girl who just wanted to go to a party with her friends. Calesia died because she said no. She died because she fought back. She died because she refused to let someone violate her without a fight. She died because a predator decided her life was worth less than his desire. She died because her best friend set her up. She died because a grown woman provided the location. She died because every single person who should have protected her failed. But even in her final moments, even when she knew she was dying, Calesia Williams refused to go quietly. She fought until she couldn't fight anymore. After Calesia was shot, something very suspicious happened. Carrie Brown, another male minor, and Infinity carried Calesia's body from the hotel room down to the lobby of the Hyatt Regency. Stop and think about that for a second. Why would you move someone who's been shot instead of calling 911 immediately? Why would you pick up a dying girl and carry her through a hotel? Moving a body destroys crime scene evidence. It contaminates everything. It makes it harder for police to figure out exactly what happened and where it happened. So why did they do it? Here's where things get even stranger. According to reports, Calesia's hotel room was covered in blood. So much blood that moving her body was supposedly necessary. But a witness at the hotel took video of what happened in the lobby, and that video shows something impossible. There's no blood on Calesia's body. There's no blood on the people carrying her. There's no blood trail from the room to the lobby. So where did all that blood go? How do you move someone who's been shot from a room covered in blood without getting any blood on yourself? How do you carry a gunshot victim through a hotel without leaving a single drop of blood behind? The answer is simple. Someone cleaned up that crime scene before they moved her body. A hotel guest named Kanachika Starkey was there that night. She heard people shouting, "What hotel? What hotel?" She saw two young men carrying Kalicia. One was holding her legs, the other was holding her upper body. They were trying to get help, but it was too late. Starkey stayed with Kalicia. She held her hand while they waited for emergency responders. She didn't know this girl, but she stayed with her so she wouldn't be alone. Someone called the police and reported that it was just Kalicia and a teenage boy in the room when the shooting happened. But when police arrived at the Hyatt Regency, the other minors had disappeared. They were gone. Vanished. Only Carrie Brown stayed at the hotel. Where was Infinity? Where was her mother who promised to supervise these children? They disappeared. The adults who promised to protect Kalicia, who promised to keep her safe, who promised to be there if anything went wrong, vanished the moment she needed them most. They didn't call Kalicia's parents. They didn't stay to answer questions. They didn't take responsibility for what happened in that room they paid for. They just left. And while they were hiding, Kalicia's parents were asleep at home, completely unaware that their daughter was dead. They wouldn't find out for another 8 hours. Kalicia's parents went to sleep around midnight. They had no idea their daughter was dying at that exact moment. Throughout the night, they tried calling Infinity. No answer. They tried calling Infinity's mother. No answer. No response. No texts back. Nothing. The adults who promised to supervise their daughter, who promised to keep her safe, who promised to be there if anything went wrong, went completely silent. At 8:45 a.m. on December 27th, April Smith's phone rang. "This is the morgue," the voice on the other end said. April was confused. "The morgue? What morgue?" "Yes, ma'am. We're waiting on your daughter's body to come through. 8 hours.
They didn't learn the group was staying at a Hyatt Regency until they received a horrific call the next day.
Like, this is the morgue. And I was like, the morgue? They was like, yes, ma'am. They was like, well, we're waiting on your daughter's body to come through. I'm like, whoa.
Kalicia had been dead for 8 hours before her parents found out. 8 hours before anyone told them their daughter wasn't coming home. 8 hours of sleeping peacefully while their child lay dead in a hospital. The adults who promised to supervise Kalicia left her parents in complete ignorance. They didn't call, they didn't text, they didn't show up at their door. They just disappeared and let April and Ronnie find out from strangers at the morgue. Why was there an 8-hour delay? Why didn't the hospital notify them immediately when Kalicia was brought in? Why didn't Infinity's mother call them the second something went wrong? These are questions that still haunt Kalicia's family. Finding out your child is dead is traumatic enough. But finding out from a stranger at the morgue 8 hours after it happened, 8 hours after you could have been there, 8 hours after you could have said goodbye, that's a different kind of pain. Think about it. You go to sleep thinking your child is safe. You wake up planning your day. Maybe you're thinking about what to make for breakfast. Maybe you're wondering when she'll be home. And then the phone rings, and in one sentence your entire world ends. We're waiting on your daughter's body to come through. That's how April Smith found out her daughter was dead. When police started investigating, they questioned everyone who was at that hotel. They questioned Infinity, and immediately her story didn't make sense. She told 4 different versions of what happened that night. First story: she was downstairs when she heard Kalicia screaming for help for several minutes. She heard her friends screaming and didn't do anything. Second story: she was in the lobby and didn't hear anything until someone told her there was trouble. Third story: she left the hotel before anything happened and found out about it later. Fourth story: she was too scared to remember exactly what happened. 4 completely different stories. Which one is true? Or are they all lies? When Infinity contacted Kalicia's mother to tell her what happened, she told yet another version. She said Kalicia screamed for help for a few minutes until she was unconscious. If you were her friend and you heard her screaming for help, why didn't you call 911? Why didn't you run to the room? Why didn't you do anything to save her? The lies kept piling up, and police knew something wasn't right. Then they interrogated Carrie Brown. And he confessed to everything. This wasn't a random encounter. This wasn't two teenagers who got into an argument that went too far. This wasn't an accident. Carrie Brown came to that hotel room specifically to sexually assault Kalesia Williams. And he knew she would be alone because Infinity told him she would be. The setup was planned weeks in advance. This was premeditated, this was thought out, this was deliberate. Here's what Carrie admitted to police. He entered the room without permission. He told Kalesia why he was there and what he wanted from her. She said no and fought back. He attempted to rape her. When she kept resisting, when she kept fighting, when she refused to give up, he pulled out a gun and shot her. He showed no remorse, no guilt, no regret. He killed a 16-year-old girl because she wouldn't let him rape her, and he didn't care. Based on his confession and the evidence, Carrie Brown was charged with felony murder, aggravated assault, sexual assault, reckless conduct, possession of a firearm by a minor. On paper, these charges should have meant decades in prison. These are serious, violent crimes. These are the kinds of charges that should put someone away for most of their life. But this is where the justice system failed Kalesia one final time. Because despite confessing to planning and executing the sexual assault and murder of a 16-year-old girl, despite showing no remorse, despite destroying a family and ending a life, Carrie Brown would barely face any consequences at all. And the people who helped him, the people who set Kalesia up, the people who made sure she'd be alone and vulnerable, they wouldn't face any consequences either. Carrie Brown's sentence, 1 year in juvenile detention, 1 year. 1 year for rape, 1 year for murder, 1 year for destroying a family and ending a 16-year-old girl's life. He was released in 2022. Carrie Brown is walking free right now. He's out there. He has access to other teenage girls. He can go to parties. He can make friends. He can live his life. While Kalesia Williams is in a grave, but it gets worse. Infinity faced no charges for setting up her best friend to be sexually assaulted and murdered. Infinity's mother faced no charges for booking the hotel room, lying to Kalesia's parents about supervision, and providing the location where a 16-year-old girl was killed. The other males who moved Kalesia's body and destroyed crime scene evidence faced no charges for tampering with evidence. The only person who paid a price for Kalesia Williams' death was Kalesia Williams herself. The juvenile justice system treated the rape and murder of a teenage girl like a schoolyard fight, like something kids do, like a mistake that can be fixed with a little time and some counseling. 1 year. That's the message the state of Georgia sent to every other predator out there. Teenage girls' lives don't matter. You can plan to rape them, you can murder them when they fight back, and you'll get 1 year. 1 year is what Kalesia's life was worth to the justice system. Her family refused to accept it. April Smith and Ronnie Savoy created a petition called Justice for Kalesia. They demanded that Carrie Brown be retried as an adult. They demanded real consequences for what he did. That petition has over 1,400 signatures, but it still needs more. They organized protests outside the Hyatt Regency Hotel where their daughter died. They held signs, they chanted her name, they demanded answers. They spoke to every news station, every reporter, every person who would listen. They refused to let Kalesia's story be forgotten. They fought the system that failed their daughter while she was alive and failed her again after she was dead. Ronnie Savoy said something that breaks my heart every time I hear it. You see it and you never think it would hit home. Not Pinky, not Pinky. That's what every parent thinks. You hear about these cases, you see them on the news, but you never think it'll be your child. Until it is. And then you're left fighting a system that doesn't care, a system that values the future of a rapist and murderer more than the life of your daughter. This is why I do what I do on this channel. Cases like Kalesia's need to be heard. Her story needs to be told. If you believe 1 year for rape and murder is an absolute disgrace, smash that like button right now. Share this video so more people know her story. Share it so her family knows people care. And drop a comment telling me, what do you think should happen to Infinity and her mother? Should they face charges too? I want to hear your thoughts. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. We're building a community that demands justice for victims like Calacia. Calacia Pinky Williams was 16 years old. She loved the color pink. She loved TikTok. She loved staying home with her Wi-Fi and Netflix. She was your daughter. She was everyone's daughter. Every system that should have protected her failed. Her best friend betrayed her and set her up to be assaulted. The supervising adult abandoned her and lied to her parents. The hotel allowed teenagers to stay in a room without supervision. The justice system valued her life at 1 year in juvenile detention. But even though every system failed her, Calacia didn't fail herself. She fought back. She refused to be a silent victim. She said no. She resisted with everything she had. That courage cost her everything. But it also showed the world who she really was. She was strong. She was brave. She refused to give up, even when she was alone and terrified. Her death doesn't have to be meaningless. Thank you for watching until the end. Calacia's story needed to be told, and you helped tell it by being here. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe to Crazy Dark Files. Turn on notifications so you never miss a case.